Yo, peoples, Q-Shade2 here. I apologize for that, a little bit of a glare there. But we are back once again as we talk about One Piece. I gotta stop turning. That's a habit of mine. Otherwise, you'll get that glare. I'm sorry. But we're gonna continue to talk about One Piece. It is day 13. We only have 7 more days to go in this whole 20 for 20 type challenge deal that's going on. And today we're going to be talking about the animation of One Piece. Now, as we all know, during the beginning of One Piece, you can tell it's like when you look at the first episode of One Piece from back then, which I believe was in, 1999 or 2000 maybe? I forget when the first episode of One Piece came out. But when you look at it now compared to how it looks, when you look at it from back then compared to how it is now, you can see a pretty big jump in animation. Because in the beginning, it had the whole 90s vibe, like 90s style grade of animation to it. And as the series progressed, you would notice that the animation started to get more fine-tuned and it started to get a lot more streamlined. And then when Oda went on his 2-year time skip, both literally and in the story of One Piece, he changed up his whole style. Now everyone has like a lighter look to them. Like Luffy's face, I guess you would call it a full-on face, but now it's sort of been euthanized. Not euthanized as in dogs, but euthanized as in he and his entire crew now look younger than the way they did before. They all have bigger eyes and smaller faces. And he also changed up his whole animation style as well. And speaking of animation, there are certain moments of One Piece where I will admit there are some times when the animation isn't really up to par, especially when you have consistent episodes of good animation. Then you have one episode where the animation is just flat out bad. And this happened a lot in the Dressrosa arc, I will say that much. The Dressrosa arc is where a lot of the bad animation was very, very prevalent, because you could definitely tell. But despite the bad animation, there are times when, in very important moments in the anime, you can see extremely detailed segments, and it's only short for a little bit, but they leave such an impact on how much they help the scene. And the reason why I say this is, we all know one of the main people who is responsible for this. It is Shida Naotoshi, who had his hand in animating a lot of very important scenes in One Piece. One would be Zoro versus Kuma, when he keeps Kuma from grabbing onto Luffy. There's a complete shift in how the animation was before. You see the contours of the face, the shadow lines of every individual shape of the face, and very, very detailed smoke, very detailed like smoke backdrop, like you normally wouldn't see in normal anime. Another good example would be the fight between Marco and Kizaru. You can see extreme detail in their faces that you normally, like the way that he made Marco's phoenix form look. It was extremely big, but also incredibly detailed. And it was just like unlike anything you've seen during the entire Marineford arc. Another example, when Luffy made his epic big entrance in Marineford, when Jinbei threw him in front of the 3 admirals. You can definitely see the shift of animation from regular watching One Piece to you need to pay attention to this one scene, extremely detailed detail. Like the way Jinbei threw the water on, it wasn't just a big wave of water like you would see in a normal anime. No, you've seen like the wave shape itself in a very unique way, then splash down. You can see every individual wave of the water that had Luffy in it, and when you looked at Luffy's face and his whole body, shadows, very detailed shadows of every ruffle in his shirt, the shade, the the blood on his face and the scratches all over his body, plus the details to the giant post that he was carrying as well. The animation gave it a lot more visual depth. And then the attention to the detail of the admirals, like you can see every wrinkle, every ruffle on their shirt and in their clothes and everything, and also the contours of their face. I'm going to be saying that word a lot, contours. The shapes of their faces was extremely detailed in that one scene. Another example, Whitebeard versus John Giant. That one moment where Whitebeard blocks his sword, and then you see like these wisps of mist and fog around Whitebeard, which you normally wouldn't see, but it was incredibly detailed, all the way down to Whitebeard's body and how it has defined his whole body was. And then it went into that one scene where he grabs the air, and you just see his coat rise up behind him, and then it goes into detail of showing his face, and then showing the entire world tilting, and then the sea tilting, and each respective level of the sea tilting as well. So much detail into that. Another example would be the tail end of Luffy and Rob Lucci's fight, where I believe Lucci uses gear second with his jet Gatling. There's a lot of detail in that scene from Luffy's fist embedding itself into Lucci all at once at the same time, to that whole segment where you just see Luffy screaming and then his mouth opens wide. Just so much detail in that scene. And then there's two very big moments in the time skip that I want to say. Of course, there's that point where Hody Jones is about to kill Neptune and behead him. Then Shirohoshi's crying. Then you see Megalo getting punched from the inside. Then you see him spit. And then all of a sudden you see Hody Jones' face. And then that's when the detail really comes in. You see Luffy kick him in the stomach, send him flying into the adjacent sea wall. And you see the entire side of that wall just literally crumble and explode. Every individual crack, every individual detail, it was just on point. And of course, to those who pay attention to when Fujitora fought Luffy when there was escaping Dressrosa, they reused that scene to show Fujitora using his Gravito Moko, or his ferocious tiger move. When that whole screen, if you notice, when that whole screen goes purplish or negative, I forget the color of it, when he uses that move and then you see the ground cracking as a display of his power, that's actually the sea wall from when Luffy kicked Hody Jones. So there is sometimes that even though they use very good animation, there are times when they will use the same animation for a different purpose. So, moving on with the time skip, the moment we see Gear 4th for the first time, you literally see, like, before Luffy even coats his body in Haki, the animation just starts right there. And you see the good detail of Doflamingo, every shadow on his feathered cape. And even before then, you had Law with his speech of that the will of D will bring up a storm again. In that whole segment where you see Doflamingo getting bad, you see every single detail. It's so good. Pardon me. And then after all that is said and done, you see so much detail on Doflamingo and Law as well. That was, I believe, Naotoshi as well. And then you have Gear 4 where Luffy literally starts to bulge out, and you see all the shadows and every single detail on Luffy just come to life in the animation. Like the normal animation that we see in a regular episode is nothing compared to the one small segment we get when the animation goes times 10 and shows us just how detailed they want us to see these epic moments. Like, you see Luffy's body grow and the animation move in like very, very crisp and smooth motions when the animation hits those levels. His whole body expanding and his hands bulging out of each other as they start to grow larger and everything. And then when he's done, you see him in his whole Gear 4 form, and it's just completely overly detailed, but it's greatly detailed as well. And yet another fine example is the introduction of Kaido. That animation alone, it was absolutely perfect. The moment we just see like Mad Monkey Rouge starting to pray for him, and then you see him jump off, that's when I believe that's when the animation, the super animation starts for Kaido. Then when he hits the ground, you see the detail in and everywhere from Kid, from Drake, well, not Drake, but Hawkins and Apu. You see how much detail is on his... When he rises out of the ground, like when just his hand coming out of the ground, that had so much detail to it. And then when you see it hit the ground and him start to rise up, you see his whole shadowed body. But you see the outlines of the different parts of his body in shadow. We normally don't see that in the normal animation. But for Kaido's sake, we make out both his head, his mustache, his horns, his face, and his nose, and everything. And then when he comes out and you see him in his full-bodied form, it was so good. And that's the thing. We still have so much going on in One Piece, so many moments that could be greatly animated. I don't even know if Big Mom has a moment yet, because I still haven't I still haven't started the Whole Cake Island arc yet. So I know that you meet Big Mom, you see all the brothers and sisters of the Vinsmoke family and everything, but I still need to catch up. But I have a feeling that we are far... I just cannot wait to see all these epic moments that we're reading in the manga get animated by Naotoshi the way that we see it in all these significantly awesome moments. And I know I'm deliberately missing a lot of key moments, such as Luffy versus Magellan with his Gear 3rd stamp behind Mr. Three's candy wall. I knew I was missing that one. What else am I missing? When Sabo uses the Fire Fist for the first time. So good. So good. That reminds me, I need to go ahead and start playing One Piece Pirate Warriors again. That was a fun game. But that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. It's just that despite the times that the One Piece animation can be a bit subpar and even bad at times, they have these short moments that make watching it all worthwhile. Like, I believe if they just left the animation the way it was, a lot of people would, I guess they would just say that the animation is, okay. It has its moments, but it's good. But it's when these short moments, and they don't last very long, it's when these short moments, and I forgot how Aokiji saved Smoker from Doflamingo. I completely forgot about it in the tail end of Smoker and Virgo's fight. I forgot about that. But it's these small moments that really make the anime shine. And I know Naotoshi's not just singled out on One Piece. He does, I believe, Dragon Ball Z as well. Especially that moment where, I want to say, Goku's fighting Golden Frieza. There's that one moment. But overall, despite, like I said, there's just those moments of One Piece in the animation where you just sit back and just enjoy just how good it can look. And a lot of people say, well, it'd be awesome if they make the entire show like this. We wouldn't get a new episode every week if they animated the entire show like this. We wouldn't... It would take... Like, it takes them a while just to animate that one episode on top of doing the rest of the show. So, if they as awesome as it would be, it would take forever for us to get new episodes. I mean, by the time the anime catches up to where the manga is, the manga will probably be over. But that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Just the animation, at least for today. I hope you all enjoyed my little rant, whatever you want to call it. But, like I said, I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I hope I didn't keep you too long. It's just that the animation for One Piece, when it reaches those pivotal moments, it's just so good. And it just makes me happy to be a One Piece fan. Especially when you're enjoying the episode and it has moments like this. It's just like the icing on the cake. So, let me know what you think. What is your favorite Naotoshi edited scene from One Piece? And you know those scenes when you see them. They're incredibly detailed. Let me know what your favorite scene is. Do you like the style of the One Piece animation? Did you prefer the ones in before the time skip or after the time skip? And hopefully they just continue to improve the animation from here on in. As always, I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and once again, as always, I will see you in the next video, and once again, as always, later, peoples!